Looks like a small. This place is awesome. TVs are
This is the first Bart Lundy basketball show of 2025, and we will be here inside the Gas House at the UWM Student Union for every Monday as long as this team wants to keep playing. And I will tell you this right out of the gate, if they play like they did the last week, they're going to be playing for a very long time. When we come back, we'll bring in the coach, Bart Lundy. We have a lot to talk about. It was a rather consequential week for the Panthers. For the first time in the history of the program, they go to Wright State and win. Then they go to Northern Kentucky and win. It was championship caliber stuff on both ends of the floor, and we'll break it down with the head man. We're going to go a little bit behind the scenes. Our guest tonight is Associate Head Coach and Recruiting Coordinator Jake Williams. And we'll talk with Jake about the gems of the junior college level. You can't say that what the Panthers haven't done in the last 2.5 years haven't had significant ties to some really talented guys at the JUCO level. And nobody better to talk about that than Jake. We'll get into that. And then we'll look ahead because, folks, on Sunday afternoon, the Mastodons are come calling. And the Panthers certainly have some revenge on their minds. So, we'll take a break. And when we come back, we'll bring in the head man, Bart Lundy. Stick with us. The Bart Lundy Basketball Show continues.
bus one.
Yeah.
Team bus one. Very important. And before we get going, we want to give, I know Jimmy Lemke is trying to get some results and get support of ours. And, our thoughts out there with Jimmy, and hopefully you got good results today. And he's a premier Panther, and definitely team bus one.
Well said. Coach, I want to talk about the week that was, because it was historic. I mean, there have been other coaching staffs, certainly other rosters that have done the old Wright State, Northern Kentucky road trip since NKU came into the league, about 10 years ago, basically. And they never were able to do what your guys did in the last week, winning both road games at Wright State and at Northern Kentucky. It's not like you just squeaked them out either. I mean, they were convincing double-digit victories. That was special stuff. Best week of the season, perhaps.
Yeah, I'd say the best week of the season so far. Both those teams are really good, really talented, really well coached, and two places that are as difficult to play in college basketball as you can find. Really good fan bases, and they've been nightmares for us the first 2 years. I guess we won that at Northern Kentucky, but we had to come back from 21 down. And had not won at Wright State in our 2 years. We've won here, but we haven't won at Wright State. So proud of our guys. We came out of Robert Morris, kind of not in a great spot, and had some, I don't know what everybody else calls it, but some come to Jesus meetings.
Friction, I think, is the word we use.
Yeah, friction causes traction. We had some friction, and we got some traction. How do we bottle that moving forward?
So what impressed you the most? I mean, maybe it was that, more than any other statistic. That after Robert Morris and after the Monday morning meeting and a good Tuesday morning practice, you said maybe the best practice of the year came on Tuesday morning. Maybe it was just kind of that intangible stuff that clicked. Most impressive to me.
Yeah, it's all the intangible stuff, and we were doing everything right to play like that, except for making shots, making free throws, making threes, being able to move the ball the way that a really elite team does it. And part of that was their chemistry together, and I think we solved some of that. And if we can continue to keep that solved, we're a tough out as we guard you and rebound at elite levels. We start making shots. Pretty good.
I mean, you have made 23s in the 2 games combined, and if you're able to do that and hit the free throws, I have to tell you, leaving both Wright State and Northern Kentucky, and I didn't mention this to you, I don't think at any point, you guys made an impression. I mean, there were people who have been at both of those schools for a long time that came up to me after, were just so impressed with the athleticism and just the overall talent depth that you have. And again, it's worth pointing out, people were wondering, or somebody said to me, well, but Wright State and Northern Kentucky, their records aren't all that great this year, but you have to understand the context. Those 2 programs have been at the top of this league for the last decade, more or less. Your guys really, maybe opened some eyes, but certainly impressed people. And I know that won't get you wins and losses, but that has to make you smile because people have taken notice.
Yeah, you look at both of those teams. Wright State is as good offensively in shot making, for sure in the Horizon. They're the best in the Horizon. They're the best offensive team in the Horizon League. And then you turn to Northern Kentucky, and you can put anybody in that roster, and that zone is tricky and tough and causes you problems, and he's really good at coaching it. And so 2 completely different challenges for our guys. And we really adapted and adjusted to everything we did. They were together, they were on the right page, scout. It was good efforts, and I do think that compete to win. But we're in a good spot as a team.
I want to spend just a couple of seconds here in our first segment together talking about each game, just with a little depth. Wright State, 95-79. You guys got 6 in double figures. We were told there for you when you had 1 and you would have 7 for the first time since Lakeland, I think just third time in 8 or 9 years or so. But the depth, everybody had a moment. I love those games where you kind of have a little 3-4 minute span over the course of the 40 where you go, okay, here was KP's segment, here was Jovanovich's segment, here's where Pratt took over, here's where Themis, AJ. That was kind of the Wright State game. Everybody had a segment, owned a segment of the game.
Yeah, and that was part of our meetings on that Monday. So I asked them, do you guys know how many guys on our team have scored 20 points in a game this season? And I think somebody said 2 or 3. And I was like, no, it's 6. 6 different players have scored 20 points in a game. So to think that you're going to be on this team that is a really good team with really talented players, and that you're going to score 20 points every game is not it's going to work. And I think they understand that. What people don't understand is we have all these guys that are a little bit older now, and in January, the NCAA came out and said, okay, every one of you guys that's in your final year that hasn't played as you go, you have another year now of eligibility. So all these guys that were looking at the end of the road with that mindset, which goes one of 2 ways, either really good or really bad usually, but I thought it was going really well. Well, all of them are now, okay, wait a minute. Do I need to put up numbers? Do I need to, you throw in money, and you throw in portal, and your team can get mixed up quickly. And maybe this is getting into the weeds, but we kind of had to unmix it. So hopefully it'll stay unmixed. But it's challenging for coaching staffs, but it's challenging for student athletes to navigate this. Think about when you were a senior in college, and your next step, you're going to get a job, you're going to get what are you going to do? And some people freak out. A lot of people freak out. Well, all of a sudden you're at the end, and now you're not at the end, but you might be at the end. It's hard, and I feel for those guys. So we've got to help them get through that, and it just happens that they do this in the middle of our season.
Yeah. But, as I said to people, I said, well, give it a month, there'll be another judge's ruling, and then the NCAA will create another waiver that'll cancel off. We'll get to March, and we'll go from there. These guys are going to be court order. Kentrell Korean? The game against Wright State, I'm just keeping it, 1,000 career point. KP1K. Come on. That particular number is his Milwaukee work. All of his Division I Panther work is what we're talking about is now 1,000 plus career points. And he was good, 18 points, 4 rebounds against Wright State, and maybe the most memorable offensive rebound stick back to date this season.
It was big time. Yeah. We're really good at rebounding our own misses. No, he looked at me. The funniest part of that is he made an unbelievable, you guys might not remember, he missed the corner 3, tracked it down himself, shot it short, and then went straight up, and one of their big guys fouled him. He looked straight at me and he was like, I was going to dunk it. He was not going to dunk it.
It was a flagrant foul.
It was a flagrant foul.
It ended up being a flagrant foul. I mean, he got hit hard. It was fun to watch the reaction of the bench. I think it was it Faison or maybe Johnny who comes up to KP because then there was a timeout and they were going to go check it, and he kind of lifts up his arm and he's checking his muscles and all this other stuff. It's funny just to watch the reaction by the other guys.
Yeah, we've got a funny group. A really funny group. No, and I'm glad you bring up the bench because our bench has been really good, and it's been our bench is developing as our team's developing. Austin Villarreal, who most people don't know who he is, but we played Green Bay We can go back to a lot of games because we haven't had a coach's show for a while. So Green Bay is running the shot clock down every single time. So at 10 seconds left in the shot clock, it was Austin's job to start yelling fire. So that gets our guys to, instead of the floor expanding as the possession goes on, we shrink it and we finish the possession, and it's a mental cue for them. And Austin was so good at yelling fire, and we were so good at the end of the shot clock. But it's those contributions and what those guys bring every day, every scout, the energy on the bench. It's lonely at the Nutter Center at Wright State. It's hard at Northern Kentucky, and it's just us. It's just team bus one and the dudes. So I'm proud of the bench.
Look, the makeup of the bench and how they have performed. I was looking right before we got here tonight, and statistically, against Division I opponents, these were the top two bench scoring games. I mean, coincidence? Probably not. I think it was maybe about 30 or 29 points per game average in the two games. So to get that production and to get just the spirit raised among those guys was so big. Danilo Jovanovic had a chance. We had him on the post-game show after the win against Wright State. I loved it because if you guys were listening, I asked him, how would you describe your style? How would you describe how you play? And he said, unconventional. That was the term he used to describe it. It's been fun to watch him now that he's kind of gotten his wind, and he talked about his conditioning and getting behind with the early season injuries. Now you're starting to see all those skills come to fruition and kind of bubble to the top that you've been telling us about since the beginning.
Yeah, he's just scratching the surface too. He's a really, first of all, he's a really great young man and hard worker and serious student and serious athlete, and his skill level is off the charts. And we haven't gotten to see it. He can really shoot. He can really shoot from three. He can really pass it. We know what he can do on the post, because that's what we're throwing the ball to him there most of the time. But it's going to be. I think he's a first team all-league guy eventually, and I'm excited to see where that goes for him. He's just got to stay healthy.
He was talking about his patented step back, kind of his Dirk Nowitzki, type move there. And I said, how did that come to be, or how did you decide to go down that path? And he said, look, I went to Miami. That's where he started, with Miami, Louisville, and now here in Milwaukee. And he said, I'm around all these guys who are so athletically gifted, and some of them bigger than me, and some of them have skills that I don't have. He said, in not so many words, I need to find something. I need to have a move. I need to perfect and refine something that gives me an edge over all these other guys there at the highest level. And for him to recognize that as a freshman, work on it, and now here we are, and he's going to wreak havoc in this Horizon League.
Yeah, and think about that statement. It sounds like an NBA vet.
Yeah, it did. I thought that.
It really is deadly. Our guys.
They love it though. They love it. They see it coming before the defense sees it coming.
And the bench is up, and I've never seen a turnaround jump shot get so much applause from the bench. But he's a really good one. With that, going back to the bench, Eric Pratt, really these two games. It's hard to be as good and accomplished as Eric Pratt is and come off that bench every game. And he is doing it. He's doing it for this team. So he and D'Lo, really, that punch off the bench, it really changes it.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will touch on Northern Kentucky, because I do want to get to Eric. And we talked about it in our post-game show against NKU. He had a different look about him, a good spirit about him on that road trip, and obviously it paid off in the stat line for sure. We'll get into that, and we'll get into making Northern Kentucky look like Northern Kentucky has made so many other offenses look over the years, because that's exactly what happened on Friday night. Stick with us. More of the Bart Lundy welcome back. Coach, there are familiar faces here, there are new faces here. I think these are some of the good folks from the academic affairs here. You see the provost here in the seats? Oh, there he is, he's hiding back. Best dressed man at the show.
For sure.
I gotta change it up here a little bit.
I was just playing one-on-one with Liam, so excuse.
Tuxedos next Monday. Make it known. We're going to talk with Associate Head Coach, Recruiting Coordinator Jake Williams in the next segment. Before we get to Jake, I do want to touch on Northern Kentucky because that was, we've talked about historically, playing Northern Kentucky, who had won 4 Horizon League Tournament championships since the 2017 season. They've been the team to beat, and you guys made them look pedestrian, and that is not easy to do. That is so hard to do. You made them look bad, Coach, and that's a credit to your guys. And those are my words. I know you won't say that, but those are my words.
Yeah, our guys did. They were so good defensively and so connected and locked in. We scored some points, but we weren't fantastic offensively. Free throw line, turned it over too much in the second half, but they were spectacular defensively and on the glass. And when you play like that and you play with that edge and that toughness, with our athleticism, you think about that one stretch. To me, that one stretch where AJ steals the ball, it's typical of our team. AJ steals the ball, scores, and one on our full court press. Goes to the free throw line, misses. We get the free throw. We beat them on the free throw box out. We get it back. Jamichael gets fouled.
Yep.
He goes to the free throw line, misses, and AJ gets the free throw rebound. And you could just see Coach Horn, who I have a ton of respect for, just see him. He didn't know who to get. He was just yelling at everyone.
Seething. He was seething.
But to me, that's what. If you want to know what my vision of Milwaukee basketball, I'd like to see shots go in. But that toughness and grit and passion, that's what Milwaukee basketball to me should be.
He was. It's funny because
that represents our city.
Well said. Well said. I did also. My eyes also drifted down to Coach Horn during that stretch. You know that a coach is really, really mad when they do the whole. I don't know if I've seen you do this per se, but they'll sidle up to one of the refs and then he covers his mouth. And you know when a coach has covered his mouth, meanwhile the face, you see the rest of his face, it's just getting deeper red, deeper red, deeper red, but he's covering his mouth, but not happy. It was a frustrating, like I said, every time you play Northern Kentucky, it's just hard. Everything is hard against them. And in that second half, you could see your guys defensively do that to them. I mean, they weren't even getting it inside the arc until there's 11, 12, 10 seconds left on the shot clock, and then they're getting into their stuff.
And, we're not to this point yet, but if you're going to become the best team in the league, you have to get to the point where when you pull the bus up, the other team mentally is down 10. And I don't think Northern Kentucky's there yet, but we've gotten 5 out of 6 since Jake arrived. You want to get to that point. I think that was part of their frustration is they haven't won one, and we're in their head a little bit, and I'm sure that they'll fix that. But if you want to get to the point where people think about the Horizon League and they think Milwaukee, that's where you have to get to with really good programs that you play.
Trey Robinson for Northern Kentucky, their best player, 11 points, 5 of 8 shooting, 6 rebounds, a couple of turnovers. The image in my mind, I don't know if you caught this, the image in my mind was a late timeout, maybe it was the under 8 or the under 12 timeout of the second half, and they bring the stools out, way out near the free throw line. That's how they do their timeouts. And I remember I looked down, and we were ready to inbound the ball. Your players were ready to go, and Robinson was still sitting on the chair. And I thought maybe he was hurt, maybe he wasn't, I don't know. Or he was just beat, he was just exhausted. He was the last guy up out of their huddle, still sitting on the chair when, I don't know, I guess Themis was probably standing baseline waiting to get the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he was looking for every last ounce of rest, and that's when you thought, oh yeah, message sent.
Well, 5-1, and the 1 was at their place last year, and there's a press conference, and he leads it, and he says, we came into this and we didn't think they were very tough, and we out-toughed them. And not calling any names, but Jake will show that to our guys every single game that we play Northern Kentucky. And I think our guys, even though Trey is a really good player, and in the tournament semifinals last year, he had 33 of them. But our guys do take this game, because of some of those comments, very seriously.
How often will you find those moments, whether they were a year ago or 2 years ago, and bring them back? Even as rosters change and evolve, and there aren't maybe as many guys on the team who were there when it was said, how often will you go, just take a look at this, guys, don't let you be?
I think the longer you are around the league, the more you have that stuff. And you and I have talked about, with the portal and everything, you have a lot of new guys every year, and you have to educate them on the league itself and history. Because most of our guys didn't know they had won 5 of the last 8 championships. And then we also educate them on, things that have happened in the past that will motivate them. And I think you, as coaching staff, I think we always look for something. Some slight, some bulletin board material that we can use to get our guys in tune. And, you don't want your guys going in, no matter how prepared they are, you don't want them going into the tip loose and just carefree, it's just another game. Everyone, when you go into a battle, needs the opponent to be the opponent, Some of these guys are great guys, the coaches are great guys, and it's hard to say anything. I told our staff, I was like, I wish the new coach at Wright State would be a little more mean, because we need
Clint Sargent,
yeah.
Too nice.
Clint is the nicest guy ever, and when you need those motivating factors, and Jake's really good. You can ask Jake about it, because Jake's really good at finding motivating factors out there.
You've done such a good job of teasing all the things we can talk to Associate Head Coach Jake Williams about. How about we take the break and we'll come back, we'll bring him in.
All right.
And we'll put him on the spot. All right, let's take a timeout. Associate Head Coach Recruiting for Jake Williams, the master motivator. Enjoy our feedback. Stay with us. Monday the rest of the way. You guys keep playing, we'll keep doing shows. It's pretty much as simple as that. Our special guest here on this particular edition of the episode is Panthers associate head coach. He is also the recruiting coordinator. Would you please welcome Mr. Jake Williams. All right. So what type of motivation have you watched to get ready for the show tonight?
Not a ton.
No, but you know, let's just piggyback off the conversation we were just having. I mean, for a player to come into a game, have a chip on their shoulder, and for the coach to find a little nugget of, here you go, read this. I guess there's watch this nowadays. It used to be read this. You got to motivate a guy however you can, right? Whatever it takes to give him an edge.
Yeah, and I think honestly it's even it's a little easier now with social media and everything, you know, right there, fingertips and access. So it's pretty easy. We watch out everyone's, you know, post-game interviews and different stuff like that just to get whether it's information or bulletin board material, you know, who's injured, who's not, you know, stuff like that. So just find little buttons to push.
I want to take, we'll just take a step back for just a second, because your career, a lot of your career to this point was at the junior college level. And I've always been kind of intrigued by that because I'll just ask you the question. What do you think, and I think I asked you this when we did a pregame interview earlier this year, what do you think is one of the bigger misnomers about junior college basketball? As you've seen it from different angles and things like that, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there aren't misnomers about junior college that you think should be proven wrong, or people are just flat out wrong when they think about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that are true, not true.
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean, I think a lot of times people think of junior college and think of, you know, maybe a kid got in trouble or they got bad grades or this, that, and there's some form of a problem off the floor, but you know, that's not always the case, especially now in the transfer portal era, right, where the portal kind of takes presence in recruiting. So there's a lot of really good high school players that are not getting recruited that are going the junior college route to get recruited. And I think one thing you find in junior college is a lot of those guys, they're all there for a different reason, whatever that reason may be. And a lot of them have had their back against the wall and have had to come out on the other end. And I think when they get their opportunity at the Division I level, A, they really appreciate it, but B, they kind of all come with a chip on their shoulder and something to prove. And I think that obviously really fits our mold here.
Yeah, you know, for folks who don't know, before coming here and working with Coach Lundy, a couple of years at Dodge City Community College in Kansas, including an Elite 8 berth, 5 years total. I mean, as a head coach at the JUCO level, Jake has won 75% of your games. What was the key there? I'm going to get into how it translates now to Milwaukee in Division I, but as a head coach at that level, who taught you the right buttons to push and the levers to pull?
Well, I mean, obviously I was fortunate enough to work for some really good coaches, Kermit Davis at Middle Tennessee and Lavelle Moten at NC Central, and then got to work for Coach Steve DeMayo at Northwest Florida, who has won multiple junior college national championships. So being able to kind of take things from all of those guys and then being with Coach DeMayo at the junior college level who's had that type of success and being able to kind of, you know, take all of their, you know, their guidance and ways of doing things and kind of making it your own. You know, but at the end of the day, it comes down to players. You know, it doesn't matter junior college, Division I, Division II, whatever the level may be. You got to have really good players to win.
Coach Lundy, can you talk about the connection, the relationship, and when you first got to know Coach Williams and the conversation you had when you were building your staff here?
Yeah, so Jake was at a school that everyone will know and recognize, USC Salkahachie, which I would say is the worst junior college job in the country. And he was
Jake is nodding for the record.
And he was a young coach and built a reputation having really good players. I sat in his practices, saw him in good spots and bad spots, and admired him from a distance. Recruited some of his guys. Recruited him on red. Didn't recruit him as I should have. But Jake was an excellent not only coach but the things that he had to manage in a job like that, where you don't have really a facility, you don't have money, you don't have housing, like he is making it happen. He's making all this happen. And for me, just like Jake was talking about, players who get their opportunity and seize it, what I saw in Jake was a coach who brought himself up, you know, just like I did. You know, nobody looked at me and said, "Oh, you played at UNC, you know, you scored, 3 points a game at North Carolina or Duke, and here's a job." You know, Jake had to do it himself, and and then I watched him go from there and get the Dodge City job, which is a good job in a good league, but not the best job in the league. And he put together a roster where his second team probably could have come in third, fourth in the league, and in that league. And when I interviewed Jake in whatever Final Four that was, I interviewed all day long. Interviewed like 40 guys, and walked away from that day going, Jake Williams, that's the guy. And it went back to Salkehatchie, it went to Dodge City, seeing all this, and then being able to see, does he fit me, and does he fit Milwaukee, and do his guys fit Milwaukee, and it dovetailed. And I'm so proud of him. I'm so happy that he's here. His dedication, his work ethic. Obviously, he's done a good job recruiting, but his scouts are on point. His coaching's on point. He is a team player. Just couldn't be happy with Jake.
So from your perspective, and knowing Coach Lundy like you did for several years, were you looking to make the leap to Division I? Was it just right guy, right place, right time, which is a big part of the industry, I know? Just kind of talk us through that career step, because it was a big jump for you, certainly.
Yeah, kind of both. One thing I've kind of always thought, especially when you do kind of have to move and navigate this, don't have a family member or dad that's a high-level coach who didn't play in the NBA, so kind of every move you make has to be extremely smart. You can never.
You also didn't have a national talk show too that you could jump into.
Didn't have that, so you got to be. There's a lot of people in our business that take jobs just to take jobs.
That guy knows Jake Williams.
So people just kind of, take jobs just to maybe chase money or I'm a Division I assistant or, whatever. And sometimes that ends up to a path, quicker out. And had a lot of success at Dodge, and I knew it was going to be really hard to duplicate that, right? So it's also kind of striking when the iron's hot, right? Kind of knowing like it's going to be really hard to win 30 games. You got to replace this roster that you just had because it's really good. That's going to be hard to do, and I knew I was going to lose my assistant, who was really good. He was going on to be a junior college head coach. Like, it's about to be tough. I kind of 7 years in junior college, want to move on, be a Division I assistant, ultimately be a Division I head coach one day. So now I kind of want to, make the move. And then when Coach got the Milwaukee job, I instantly reached out to him, and he had a lot of stuff going on, a lot to navigate, and obviously met me Final Four, and I blew his phone up. Tried to not take no for an answer. I blew him up, and just really fortunate to be here. I always believe in attaching yourself to winners, people that do things the right way. And obviously, Coach Lundy's a winner. He does things the right way, and wouldn't rather be anywhere else.
Coach mentioned a couple of the names that Panther fans have obviously gotten to know really, really well in 2.5 years, but you knew them before they wore a Panther uniform. And Coach mentioned Ahmad Rand, DJ Freeman, Themis Folks. You've known these guys a long time before any of us here got to know them. How do you find the JUCO gem? Because you know how many guys are down there just scratching and clawing for an opportunity at the next level. What makes the diamond in the rough, the jewel that they can be?
I mean, I think a lot of it comes, you obviously evaluate, right? And you gotta trust your own eye. And I think when I was at USC Salgatchie, we didn't have scholarships and all this stuff, so we were in Walterboro, South Carolina, kind of near Charleston. We really made kind of a living in like the Augusta, Georgia area, because there was a lot of really good players that were not being recruited. Ahmad Ram being one of them, Dresden McBride, who ended up at North Texas and Georgia. We had a few out of the Augusta area. They were really high level. They got recruited by no one out of high school. It was incredible, honestly. So just kind of finding those guys in the middle of nowhere patches, small town South Carolina, small town Georgia, small town North Carolina, Panhandle of Florida, just kind of in that area. And you find the gyms there, right? And then when you got to Dodge City, well, now you have scholarships. So now you can kind of, be a little more aggressive with Division I transfers, maybe highly talented guys, like BJ Freeman was a really talented high school player. He didn't qualify officially till really late summer, almost fall. So we were recruiting him all year, thinking he was going to be a non-qualifier. He got qualified late, and by the time he qualified, everyone was already full, done summer workouts, and it just kind of happened, right? We just held on to a scholarship for him, so kind of got lucky there, right? But yeah, it's really just kind of your connections and people you talk to, and then trusting your eye.
I think, Coach, I asked you this in a pregame show recently because somebody, I forget who it was, they asked me, I forgot who it was, one of the radio guys when we were on the road or they were visiting us, and I think he simply came up to me and said, how did everybody miss on Stillwell? How did everybody miss on Stillwell? And I think we talked about that, but I know, Jake, you were part of that, the meeting with Jamichael in the off season, and you talk about right place, right time, and maybe an unfortunate situation there. He was fighting an illness, and maybe that played into the hands of the bigger picture. It's wild, the backstory for J-Mike. Can you share that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we were obviously, the real backstory is we were trying to figure out how to stop a Trey Townsend, right? Like, we talked about, needing a point guard. We needed a tough, rugged four-man that could stop a Trey Townsend. So we're just going through looking at, JUCO guys before the portal gets here, and dudes that just go and rebound the ball and can defend, like, every position, defend a Trey Townsend, right? And we're going through his film, going through, rebounding leaders that saw him in the fall on the JUCO tour when we go out to Kansas. Watched his film, really studied him, and then me and Coach Lundy went out there to Kansas. It's between the Northern Kentucky Youngstown game. I think we had like a 5 or 6 day break. Went out there for 2 days to see him and a kid named Brody Robinson that played at Garden City in Kansas, who ended up at UT Arlington, really good player. And went and had breakfast with Jamichael. He had just come off of having mono. He had weighed like 225, dropped down to around 195.
Wow.
Lost a lot of weight.
So he didn't look like the Jamichael that we see now.
Correct. Yeah, correct. And then he had like a high ankle sprain right after that. And then so he was leading junior college in rebound, and then when he had mono and the high ankle sprain, like his last 10 games, if you look, it really kind of dipped. And he had plenty of mid-major recruitment, but people kind of dipped off after that and kind of backed out and looked other directions. He still had some other other options, and we just stayed in there with him the whole time, believed him. Was like, he's going to get healthy, he's going to get here, we're going to get him back to 225, 230. He can defend any position, rebounds as tough as nails, and he's every bit of what we thought, if not more.
My gosh. Yeah, right place, right time. Timing is so important and all that. Before I let you go, I do want to ask you both, because I have from the sideline enjoyed watching both of your connections with BJ Freeman and now with Bemis Folks. I shouldn't be keeping track, but you folks, you come to the game, you need to watch, at least of late, one time a game. If the game's going well late, Bemis will come over to Coach Lundy and have his arm around him, and who knows what's said, but it makes for a nice little snapshot visual.
He's telling me what should happen, coaching-wise.
You guys know BJ and Themis better than any of us. That dynamic, that relationship, and the relationship that you, if I could say, Jake, have with BJ, had with him when he was here, and before that, and Themis, and now Coach with you, that's special stuff. Like, I can even pick up on that, and that makes a big impact on the court as well. Coach, we'll start with you.
Yeah, you have these relationships, and they're so deep. You're going through the fire together, and they are relying on you to not only coach them, give them guidance, but in a lot of instances, tell them where their life is going. Tell them where they're, what they should do with every situation. You become their pseudo parent, their parent away from what the parents that they have, and it becomes a special dynamic. And the longer that you're around a player, we can use those guys, and like take an AJ, who now I've known for 8, 9 years, and it becomes like Liam sitting over there, and that's how much you care, and that's they'll die for you, and you'll die for them, and that's really, I think that's why we are able to do here at Milwaukee the way we are able to coach these guys and how they respond the right way, because not only Jake and I, but go down Mike, Themis came to see Mike, I'm like, he's got a problem he needs solved. Jose, Ben, Michael Cooper, I mean, we have such a great staff with our guys, and they all live it and breathe it. We tell the recruits that we live and breathe it. Sometimes Jake wants to go play golf. They always joke, I don't have any hobbies, but our hobbies are, taking care of these guys and taking care of the stewardship of this program, which is in the hands of those guys. But Jake, you can answer that.
No, I mean, that's spot on. And then just kind of seat over is like, when these coaches coaching the game. So, having that relationship, and even having been able to coach Themis before BJ, like if they're frustrated or they're struggling or something's going on, coaches coaching the game are coming out, being able to just talk to them, and then listen. And yeah, it's the relationship piece, but they're also good dudes. They want to be coached in. At the end of the day, those dudes want to win. So, and they know, because we put in the time with those guys, they know anytime we're telling them anything, it's for their best interest, it's for the interest of the team to win the game, and ultimately that's all they want.
Is it rewarding for you personally to kind of have BJ before, and Ahmad, and now Themis, you guys kind of be able to reconnect now at the Division I level, trying to do something special here in Milwaukee? Is that kind of something unique and special for you?
Yeah, it's definitely unique and special. Ahmad was kind of a really special one because, anyone that knows Ahmad's backstory, it's too long to go into, you can find on the internet, but it's to see where he was before junior college to where he ended up Memphis, Oregon State, and then ending up in Milwaukee for his last year, and how it all went out for him. That one was extremely special and close. And then obviously BJ is awesome. And then we really wanted Themis to come here out of junior college, right? He did, and then we had a great time in Dutch City. So to have him here senior year, that's really cool too. But yeah, Ahmad was really special.
Hey, he could have a second year. He's got another year coming.
Who knows?
Hey, who knows? Where is Ahmad? How is Ahmad? Give us an Ahmad Rand update. I don't even know. Where is he right now?
He's doing well. He plays overseas right now. He's bounced around to a few different places, different contracts. He's doing really well. He's loving it. Anytime he'll get done about a month over the summer, he'll be in Milwaukee. He came back this past summer for about a month. Came to workouts, played pickup. He's doing great.
That's what's cool about those guys, and not just those two. They're from all over, but no matter whether they were here a year or two, we're starting to see they always come back. They always come back.
Well, and that first year, and obviously if this year ends the way we all want it to end, is going to be something really special and unique, and this group will be forever remembered because of it. But there's something about that first year. I mean, what that group gave this program to launch it, the unexpected success. There's nothing like unexpected success in sports. It gives you a joy that's different from even when you win a championship, as awesome as that is. And that first year, and those guys and Ahmad Rand at Nucleus of it.
You want a great inside story?
Please, this is Team Bus One. We deserve inside
Since
story.
it's Northern Kentucky, coming off Northern Kentucky, so we're down 21 in the second half. But I really felt like we were going to win, so I tell the referee, like, we're down 18 because we had started to come back a little bit. I'm like, we're going to win this game. He looked at me. That was insane. But Ahmad and BJ, who are like brothers, but they were at each other's throat for whatever reason. So we're coming back, we're pressing them, and they're getting frustrated. We're scoring, and Ahmad is off, has been taken out. He's on the bench, and if you guys know BJ, BJ's got no filter, and so BJ and Ahmad are feuding, and BJ scores and gets fouled, and instead of celebrating the score and the foul, he goes over to the bench to Ahmad, who is not clapping for BJ, and looks at Ahmad, and we have it on film. He's like, "Clap, Ahmad, clap." So you never know the inside story, but yeah, those guys were awesome, and they did help us launch, get us to where we are now.
Yeah, that was, it always will be so special. All right, Jake Williams, last question. Should your Tennessee Titans trade the first pick, or should they draft Shadur Sanders?
Trade.
If you, this is on film, this is being streamed. Trade the pick, huh? Trade the pick. Trade the pick. All right, you heard it here first. We'll get a Titans question in there. Our first ever on the Lundy Show. Jake Williams, Associate Head Coach and Recruiting Coordinator. Thank you, Jake. Stay with us.
That's what we have to fix out.
Here at the UWM Student Union, just a few minutes left here in the Lundy Basketball Show. We'll be back at it again next Monday night from 6 until 7. Thanks for everybody coming out. And bring a friend. We'll be back again next Monday and watching YouTube, hello, and streaming live the audio. Real quick, Coach, before we talk a little Purdue Fort Wayne, I have in my hand a raffle ticket. And if you show up, you might get, you win something. You come to the Lundy Show, you might win something. A $50 gift card to Pilot Project Brewing. You can get a lot of their pale ale with a $50 gift card. And the winning number is 189748. 189748. There you go. $50 gift card. Pilot Project. Good stuff. Coach, first of all, 8 days, right? You have Friday to Sunday, 8 days without a game. It's not a layoff, it's not a break, I know that. But still, how are you guys, we sit here on Monday, how are you guys going at this week? Is it self-scouting and then we'll turn our attention to the Mastodons, or how are things kind of playing out?
Yeah, we gave them So we traveled back on Saturday, and we gave them yesterday off. And we will, since academic folks are here, we missed the entire first week of school, and we will miss the entire third week of school. So this week started off with hard emphasis on being in study hall and making sure we're on top of our assignments. And then we lifted today but did not practice. We'll crank it back up tomorrow. We'll have, usually it's Compete Monday, tomorrow will be Compete Tuesday.
What does that mean?
So Compete Monday, we'll take Purdue Fort Wayne, we'll take their actions, but we'll go from 1-on-1, 3-on-3, 4-on-4 to 5-on-5, and we'll play a couple different games with some drills and how we guard them, and we'll break the team into two teams, and they play a score out. In the first game, we always play an Elam ending, if you've ever seen the basketball tournament in the summer. So when we get to the last drill, we say, okay, if it's 41 to 43, you add 8 to that, and the first team to 51 wins. And then we scrimmage then, and then we'll do another game. So, but it's all competition, it's all scored. So if it's 1-on-1, it might be me and Jake, and my team is on defense first, and I'm closing Jake out on the wing, wherever we think we've got to guard Fort Wayne. And if he scores, he gets 2 points. Sometimes I'll give him extra points for an offensive rebound or whatever. But they get heated, and it gets exciting, and it is Compete Monday.
There probably is no...
It's legendary in our program.
I was going to say, there probably isn't much that can replicate that feel, or I should put it, of a real game feel than that. That's about as close as you can get in practice, quote unquote.
Yeah, well, imagine, okay, we're doing a closeout drill with me and Mike. It's one thing to do it, when the coach is just saying, hey, you got to close Mike out. But when your whole team is dependent on you, if Mike scores, that's 2 points for the other team. It's just 1-on-1. It's not a 5-on-5 deal, so it does amp it up, levels.
Purdue Fort Wayne is here on Sunday. That's a 2 o'clock start, and you get your tickets at 414-229-5886 or mkpanthers.com. Certainly got to get some bodies in there. Had some good crowds here now that the home games after the holiday have kind of picked up a little bit, Coach. Fort Wayne, interesting stretch for them. They've got Cleveland State on Thursday, and then they're coming here on Sunday. So you imagine Coach Kaufman and company, they are emphasizing the value of the next couple of games, certainly in terms of what they want to do, which is exactly what you guys want to do. But you've got some revenge on your mind, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I rewatched the game today from there. It was really hard to watch. We tied up with, we had those stretches, the numbers, but stretch 13-0 run in the last minute of the first half and beginning of the second half, and then they shot 10 or 12 free throws in a row with 4 minutes to play, and my first complaint to the official assigner in about 15 years. So it was a frustrating loss, but a loss that we did some good things, and we did some things that we need to do better. So I think we'll be ready to play. I don't love the days off like this and then playing. I think that puts you at a little disadvantage. You lose your edge. The Cleveland State, Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Milwaukee are at the top of the standings, so we'll see what's what this week.
It reminded me of something else that went really right this last week. Your guys' ability to close halves and start halves. I mean, you were a good closing team. The end of the game situations weren't so much necessary, valuable because you were blowing both of them out. But you kind of threw the last punch against Wright State and Northern Kentucky to close a half, and then you opened the half saying, yeah, not today.
Yeah, and then the Fort Wayne game was the second time in a row that we had, I can't remember what the game was before, but I might have been thinking about Oakland. But we had 2 games that we lost at the end of the first half. It was a real train wreck for us. And so, this is a process. You can play offense and defense, but then special teams, sometimes, guys got to go through those. and learn and make mistakes, and you can't replicate everything in practice, and these guys have gotten better. We make them aware, and then they've got to go perform, and they've really performed in those crucial areas, into the halves, start of the halves, coming out ready to play the first game. I think we won our first 10 games and didn't win the tip. You can't always win the tip, but dang, sometimes you got to win the tip. So we've gotten better in those areas, and they're starting to understand our margins. We talk a lot about margins, and I don't want to get in the weeds, but they're a group that is learning and growing and getting better.
All right, Panthers, Mastodons, the rematch Sunday, 2 o'clock, downtown historic Panther Arena. No reason that y'all have been listening, shouting distance of us should not be there. Coach, appreciate it as always. Best of skill against PFW. Thanks to all of you for showing up here. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Thanks for listening to the Varsity Network app. We'll see you next Monday, everybody.
Yeah.